Welcome to another episode of the HR Champions podcast. And joining us today is Jodie Villanueva. Jodie is the HR manager at the Palace Manila. So thank you so much, Jodie, for taking time to be part of this podcast. And we are really excited to have you here.
Thank you, Homer. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm happy to join.
Mm.
Yeah, I just want to be able to share, whatever can be shared
Yes,
based on
thank
experience.
thank you, Jody. Okay, so before I jump into my HR questions, so baka pwede mo muna kaming bigyan ng quick summary of your career in HR.
Well, I had a really colorful journey going to HR. I took up business administration from the National College of Business and Arts in that was my undergrad, and
Mm-hmm.
my course was business ad. No, back then that was in the late 90s. Oh, di ba? Sinabi yung edad. Um, wala pang HR, at least to my knowledge na wala pang HR courses noon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I worked in the BPO industry for about 6 years after college. Tapos, I think I was 27 when parang I had this quarter life crisis, people will call nowadays. Back then, wala
Mm-hmm.
pang term. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then I thought, no, there must be more to life than taking in phone calls day in and day out. So,
Yes.
totoo talaga nangyari. No? And I always tell people about this. I literally made an inventory of the things that I'm good at. And I
Mm.
realized people like talking to me and I like talking to people. So I narrowed down the career options to three: guidance counseling, psychology or psychiatry, or HR.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I landed in HR because back then I couldn't afford to go back to school, in order to shift careers. So HR
Uh-uh.
allowed me to do that. Pasensya
Mm.
na muna yung dog ko.
Okay lang, curious. So, HR is something na hindi mo naman pinursu in the first place. Tama ba?
I
Or,
think I've always been interested in it,
mm-hmm.
at least in human behavior. Pero, walang course na ganun when
Mm-hmm.
I was in college. So parang I had the long route going to HR.
Mm.
And I never looked back. I've been in HR for about 12 years, give or take.
12
Yeah,
years. So
12 years.
ano yung if you can remember what was your first role in HR?
I was a training assistant.
Training assistant.
Yes, I literally would count balloons and toothpicks and
Talaga?
yeah, yeah. Because I was assisting training facilitators back then. That was
Hmm.
in Meralco Management and Leadership Development Center. Na ngayon ay First Pacific Leadership na in Antipolo.
Ah,
So that was my first ever job. So thank you MMLDC for the uh, the opportunity to shift careers.
shout
Yeah, it was
out.
really fun. Yeah, shout out.
So in those 12 years of being in HR, so what has been like the biggest challenge you had?
Hmm. I realized along the way that lahat ng problema ng organizations are about people and the
Mhm.
solution is also from the people. But it's the manner it's the manner with how you would link together the people so you can find solutions to problems. Sometimes, you can't be helped. There are office politics, there are, dynamics,
Yes.
human behavior, di ba? Parang, um, yun eh. Alam ko naman lahat parang sa lahat ng organizations, people want the organization to be successful.
Mhm.
It's the how to get there. That's the biggest challenge. And I'd like to believe na over the years, I was able to find ways to do that. No, I try to create a collaborative work environment. Mahirap maging HR because
Definitely.
kailangan maging approachable and at the
Mhm.
same time, kailangan nakakatakot ka.
Talaga?
Otherwise, yeah, there has to be, a very delicate balance between the two. Parang people should be able to approach you when they have problems, and they should also believe you when you give them warnings. Alam mo yun? So,
Mm.
kaya medyo mahirap siya.
Okay, okay. Interesting, Well, ito, yung next question ko, Jody. So, for you, what will be the top 3 skills that an HR practitioner should have or must have skills for in order to survive and thrive as well in the HR space?
Dapat very good communicator ang HR.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of times when you would have to communicate ideas that may not necessarily be popular. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to you can't help it. You become the bearer of bad news to some
Mm-hmm.
people. So you
Yes.
have to be able to deliver the news. Hindi bobolahin,
Oo.
sabihin mo yung totoo, pero you don't have to, I guess, parang step on people. Alam mo yon, yung parang bad news na nga, you make them feel bad pa.
Mm-hmm.
So parang dobling bugbog.
Oo.
So that's one. You have to be a very, very good communicator. You also have to have a clear vision of what you can do for the organization you're in, and what you want to do in the organization. Because yung HR people, they are the stewards of the company culture eh.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Yeah.
it's not clear to you, mahirap mo din tulungan yung mga tao to see the same vision sana.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tsaka, speaking of vision, dapat naniniwala ka din sa vision ng organization that you're with.
Yes. Agree.
Um, Tapos, siguro dapat, able to adapt. Because not all approaches will work. You know, parang, as people, di ba, parang we tend to work with things that we're already familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Pero, sometimes yung approaches na we've gotten used to using, they don't always work eh. So parang you try it once, you try it twice, but if it's not working for this particular organization, then you have to be able to find ways to do it differently,
Mm-hmm.
hoping for the same result sana to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Okay.
ang haba na sagot ko.
So that's communication, having the
Clear
vision,
vision,
clear
yeah.
vision and adaptability. O siguro
Yes.
flexibility na din, 'di ba? 'Di ba?
Yeah, oo.
Same goal but different approach depending sa ano, 'di ba?
True.
Depending on
Mm-mm.
the situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Ito actually itong next question ko, Jody, wala sa list but it pop in my head.
What
So
list? I'm
kasi
kidding.
kanina na ano ko doon sa sinabi mo, dapat medyo nakakatakot si HR. So something
Okay.
related to that. So if there's
Uh,
one misconception about HR that you want to disprove, what would it
mm,
be?
that we are pencil pushers.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Okay ba yun? Do
Mm.
I have to elaborate?
Hindi, okay lang, okay lang.
Yeah, kasi
Kasi
I think, parang a lot of people see HR people as, this really nice person that you can talk to and pwede mong balahin, lulusot ka, alam mo
oo,
yun.
oo, oo, I
But
see.
it's not always the case. I mean, at least, with how I view things, I don't like being a passive
Mm.
member of the
Yes.
organization. I want to be able to, sit in the corporate table and help making decisions. That's always
Mm.
been how I view my profession, my career in HR. So there are things that you have to do administratively, pero that should not be the end all and be all.
Exactly,
Important
oo.
na you're aware of what the processes are, these things. Pero it should not end there.
Mm.
Kumbaga
Agree.
parang you have to be able to connect the things that you do in paper to the vision of the company.
Mm.
Kailangan makikita pa rin siya, kailangan na may measure. And it's not
Tama.
an easy thing to do, to be
Yes.
honest.
I know, I know. I feel you, Jody. Okay. Sige, let's talk about naman about employee retention because there's
Mm.
a recent survey actually last year for the HR community wherein the top three most challenging task for HR people are recruitment,
Mhm.
employee engagement, and employee retention. So those three are interrelated naman, 'di ba? But
Yeah.
I find it surprising kasi before I thought ang pinakamahirap is recruitment. Kasi that's the time wherein HR will really try to sell the company to the applicants, 'di ba? You lay out your best offers. We have this, we have the signing bonus, and nandiyan din yung syempre study,
Mhm.
benchmarking, ano ba yung salary ngayon for the position that we are looking for. So I thought initially yun yung pinakamahirap. But it turned out na employee retention, so retaining the talents within the company yung pinaka-challenging. So I want to know your take on that.
Um, Mahirap ang recruitment because it's very crucial for the HR people to hire the right people for the position.
Mhm.
Kasi especially when you're hiring for executive level or a department head level, um, parang it would set the tone of the department at the very least, no? Whether or not they will be effective at what they should be doing. Retention, hindi ako masyadong concerned about retention, to be
Mhm.
honest. Probably because I see it as it's a
It's part of the
natural,
process na rin, 'di ba?
yeah. Oo,
Oo.
ganun talaga. Parang you can't help but you let go of people. Yeah,
Mhm.
lalo na sa atin, sadly, we're in a third world country, no? Parang migration is such a huge
Mhm.
deal, diba? A lot of our colleagues are migrating with their families, and you can only be happy for them. Diba? Parang there are things that they would be able to get there, social services that are not available here siguro. Um, but that's just how it is. Ang importante siguro for an HR person, because there are things that we can't control, but there are
Mhm.
things that we can influence.
Yes.
Ang importante is that these people learn as much as they can while they were in the organization. No? Parang even if
Hmm.
they get out of the organization, they would still talk positively about the organization. That's all you can do anyway.
Mhm.
Parang parang engage them while they're here. Pero if it's time to let go, then we let go. Ganun lang
Hmm.
siya.
Okay. I just remember yung quote ni Richard Branson. Not sure if you've heard it. Parang let's train people for tama ba? I'm paraphrasing, Parang let's train people for them to stay, and let's treat them well so that they won't leave. Parang gano'n
Yeah.
yung ano, 'di ba? So
Mm.
you have to develop yung talagang employee experience, 'di ba? Within
Mm.
the company. Kasi mapapaisip rin si employees, aalis ba ako dito? Pag umalis ako dito, this is what I will lose,
Mm.
'di ba? Mm.
Pero ganun talaga, parang ako ang paniniwala ko kasi depende sa phase in life ng tao, yung
Mhm.
how happy he or she would be in the organization. Kung kunwari, we're talking about fresh graduates, they are still exploring, what they
Yes.
want to do for the rest of their career life. So it's okay if they want to move out. For so long as they do it the right way. Yun
Mm.
lang siguro. And we teach them as much as we can while they're with us. Ganun lang.
Mm. Nice, nice. Okay, moving
Kasama,
on.
kasama
Ah
sa podcast yung aso ko.
Oo, ano ang pangalan ni ano, ng pet mo?
Gravy. Oo.
Ha? Anong pangalan?
Gravy.
Gravy. Shout
Gravy.
shout out Gravy. Gravy. Okay, so my next question, Jody. Si HR, may mga programs na parang pinopropose for management and geared towards employee well-being. And sadly, yung mga yung mga programs na 'to requires budget, 'di ba? And
Mhm.
then there will be times hindi naman ma-approve ni management 'yan, 'di
Mhm.
ba? And it will be declined for reasons, 'di ba? Business reasons perhaps.
Mhm.
So, but si HR parang later on na-observe niya yung parang negative implications for not rolling out that program.
Mhm.
Parang this could have been address kung
Um,
na-roll out sana 'tong program na 'to. So, can you share something, kahit observation lang?
there are a lot of times when that would happen kasi and tama ka, no, it's always because of business reasons. There has to be a balance kasi
Mhm.
between, expenses and profit and pwede kasing from an HR point of view, we're not really seeing the whole picture. Posible yon.
Hmm,
Depende siguro kung um, ano yung level nung exposure mo, no, dun sa entire operations ng kumpanya. Um, I had a boss. We had a really good working relationship because I would tell him my recommendation. Hi, Sir Bo.
Turbo.
Ipapa, papadala ko sa kanya to. We had a really good working relationship, no, for a number of years because I would tell him my recommendations about things.
Mhm.
And, there are times when it would not be approved. And yung totoo, I would document things. Na ito yung, I believe this is the way we should do it. If it doesn't happen, okay lang naman. Because at the end of the day, recommendatory pa rin yung function ng HR.
Mm.
In a lot of things. No? Over the years, we developed this working relationship na pwede na ako mang-asar. So I would tell him na parang,
Okey.
and that's the same thing to me. So meron kaming mga interventions din na ginawa before na parang kunyari pinagbigyan niya yung gusto ko and it did not pan out, no. It did not end up as well as we hoped for. So yun, so inaasar niya rin ako. So ganun lang. I mean, that's how it is eh. We have to keep trying approaches kasi to things. Pero hindi lahat 'yan magiging successful. At that's just how things are. Ganun lang talaga.
Mm, understand. So, talagang ano nga, I think yung what you said, I think HR should be allowed siguro to see the bigger picture, if I
That's
may,
true.
tama ba?
Yeah.
Para at least, okay, ganito pala. So, we can adjust what we will ano,
Mm.
'di ba, we will propose. Mm. Okay.
Ako, to be honest, no, parang when I'm new in an organization, I try to absorb as much as I can about other departments' work.
Mm.
Only so I would be able to give recommendations that are going to work. Kasi the labor code is the same wherever you are, regardless of the industry you're in. Pero how you apply, how you approach problems differs from one industry to another.
Exactly.
Kaya importante na alam mo yun, hindi ka nandun sa loob ng cubicle or ng office mo and
Mm.
you try to understand what your coworkers are doing, what are their challenges at what they do, and hopefully you would be able to give them recommendations that would solve yung mga hard to solve problems nila before because you're coming
Mm.
from a position wherein you have a better understanding of things outside than inside. Ganun.
Mm. Nice, okay. I think diyan din papasok yung pagiging adaptable mo sa ano, 'di ba? Ang pagiging
Mm-mm.
flexible, 'di ba? Especially if you're going to interact with other departments na iba-iba rin yung personality, 'di ba?
Yeah,
Iba-iba yung limits, so iba-iba rin yung approach to them. Parang
that's true.
so that's one thing that
Normally, ang HR and finance, they don't work well together. Oy,
Ay ka na nga
pero,
be. Pati
I
sales.
mentioned it.
Oo.
I know. Sales,
Mm.
darling ako ng sales because I try to understand what they do eh.
Mhm.
Darling din ako ng finance, by the way. Because uh, when I was with Teleperformance, shout out Nits.
Uh-huh.
When I was in Teleperformance, ganyan yung isang challenge, no? Parang um, hindi daw makausap or parang mahirap i-communicate yung mga kunwari payroll issues. So what we did was to team up. We teamed up. We organized learning sessions, no, for the agents to learn how their payroll is computed. At
Mhm.
tumaas ang employee engagement namin because of that.
Talaga? Galing,
Oo.
galing. Oo,
Kasi pwede naman yun. Parang depende how you would siguro kung ano yung weakness ng ibang department, you supply it to them. And then, patulong ka din. Ako, I'm not really very good at math. So, pag medyo maraming numbers gini-give up ko, parang, okay, help me with this. Ganun lang.
Okay.
Madali lang naman siya.
Let's move on to ano naman, to health. Kasi 'di ba in the recent years, yung efforts talaga ng companies and organizations were greatly focused on the physical and mental health ng employees, 'di ba? Especially during COVID na diyan pumasok talaga yung mga mental well-being seminar, right? So
Mhm.
mga webinars that's for the mental health, which is a good thing, 'di ba? Kahit hanggang ngayon dire-diretso pa rin, 'di ba?
Yeah.
And for the physical health naman, I'm not sure kung nangyari sa inyo to, but I have a guess na to the point na lahat ng empleyado nila sinuplayan nila ng multivitamins, nag-ano sila ng vaccine kahit hindi pa yung flu vaccine mismo. So sige kahit anong vaccine. And then nagpadala ng face mask, alcohol and all of that, 'di ba? So yung focus talagang nandun sa mental and physical health. But one thing that I think hindi nabigyan ng masyadong highlight is yung financial health ni
Mm.
employees, especially nung nagkaroon ng layoffs, 'di ba? Maraming nagsarang companies and then employees were forced to use their savings, then eventually na-deplete kasi hindi nakahanap kaagad ng work and all of that. So, how do you see financial health as a focal point that HR can make use of in developing new employee benefit and engagement programs?
Um, um, ideally, no, parang financial health is something that we would learn in school. Ideally, no, parang
Sana, no?
sana naiintindihan natin yung stocks, naiintindihan natin yung, 'di ba, investments and all. Pero, at least nung ako'y nag-aaral, wala pang gano'n, no.
Same
I'm
here.
not sure kung hanggang ngayon ba, I'm not sure kung nasa curriculum na. Pero since wala nga yun, let's just assume na wala, no, until now. Um, I think importante siya because in order for the learning to be holistic, dapat lahat ng aspects natatouch eh, di ba?
Mhm.
Yung physical and mental health, we had the programs very similar to what you mentioned earlier kanina, Homer.
Mhm.
Because I was in the pharma industry during
Talaga?
the pandemic, yeah. So, dumating pa kami sa point na nag-exercise kami an hour.
Oo, yoga, di ba? May mga ganun pa, di ba?
Yeah,
Oo.
we did yoga, we did jump rope. Pero we partnered with Holy Fit. Shout out Holy Fit.
Holy
Yeah, we
fit.
partnered with Holy Fit. Because wala akong ganun kakayanan to lead yung mga ganong
Mhm.
physical activities, but we had to find ways. We also added an allowance for COVID prevention, yan para sa multivitamins and all, mga face mask, ano pa ba, nag-add kami ng leave, paid leave, pag na-COVID
Wow,
positive.
nice, nice. Okay.
Kasi I was in the pharma industry. We had to make sure that the doctors that our med reps would interact with, hindi magkakasakit because of our med reps. 'Di ba? Because
Mm.
that would be nakakahiya and parang irresponsible, no? Um, pero going back to financial health, um, a lot of companies kasi have started na parang um, putting together a retirement fund, no, for their
Mhm.
employees. I know of one bank na ang ginagawa parang minamatch nila whatever the employee saves, parang through salary deduction, minamatch nila a certain percentage of it. um I think it should be done. It can be done. Um, pero it would take a lot of work because hindi hindi tayo hindi tayo masyadong particular sa pre-need
Mm.
na insurances and all dito sa Philippines, and it would take a paradigm shift kasi before we can see that happening. But there's a way of doing that. Um, Siguro small steps until such a time that people understand, no, there's a right way of using your credit cards.
Mhm.
Mabuti nga ang ngayon mobile banking, you can, parang set aside a certain portion of your money for investments. Um, ako, ang approach ko is to give real life examples. No, kunyari may nagkasakit na workmate, tapos ganito yung naging sitwasyon. I try to share as much as I can. So people would understand na there are a lot of things that we cannot avoid. No, they would happen
Mm.
when we least expect it. No, may nagkasakit, hindi prepared financially and all. And I try to give real life examples so the lessons would stay. Pero at the end of the day, it's still voluntary kasi people
Mm.
should still be able to um, parang make decisions for themselves. We can only teach them, 'di ba? We can only give them the resources to learn more, pero baka kasi nasa phase in life sila na ang importante cash on hand.
Mm.
It's possible. No, kunyari, if you have very small children na nasa school age, di ba, parang mas importante sa'yo na may cash ka kaysa, kumbaga parang later on mo naisipan yung ibang bagay.
Mm.
Um, so importante siguro that we know our coworkers enough to understand kung ano yung mag-work na intervention for them.
Mm.
Ganun.
Nice. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Jody. Let's move on to social media naman. Predominantly, social media, parang hindi, ano lang siya, person to person, di ba? Before, ganun siya. And then
Mm.
eventually, nakita ng mga companies, okay, so this is where people go, where people at. And then
Mm.
they make use of that to market yung services nila and yung products, di ba? And then, nowadays, ngayon, yung social media, be it siguro primarily Facebook, then LinkedIn, ano pa ba, Instagram, TikTok perhaps, kasama na rin. So they're making use of those platforms to promote the culture within the company, to let the public know this is what's happening inside, di ba? So yung iba, especially for BPOs, they're making use of that to recognize employees, di ba?
Mm.
To promote yung mga CSR activities ni company, di ba? So in your opinion, what's the role of HR when it comes to the social media platforms ni company?
Um, I believe HR um, should be able to say, and I wanna be politically correct.
Sige lang,
Wait
go.
lang, just a second.
Sure,
Ayan,
sige.
that's one thing about me, Homer. I'm not always politically correct, so I'm trying to censor myself. Nakakahiya sa mga audience niyo.
Mhm.
Siguro ang importante that HR has a say in making
Mhm.
sure that the social media presence of the companies that they're with are reflective of the corporate values. No,
Mhm.
um, meaning let's just be transparent with who we are as an organization. Ganun lang. Sa akin kasi very important yung transparency even at the onset. Kasi that also spells the difference between a person staying longer and a person leaving very, very soon after hiring.
Mhm.
You give people a chance to see what's in store for them through the social media accounts of the company, and then you allow them to make decision, no, whether they want to join or not. Kesa you entice them with things that are not really there. Tapos
Mhm.
when they get in, that's the only time when they would realize, oops, parang okay, this is totally different
Hmm.
from what
Yeah.
I was expecting. So, yun
Mhm.
lang siguro, parang pag masyado ng suntok sa buwan yung mga pangako sa social media accounts, medyo may pumipreno dapat. Yun lang siguro.
Exactly, so parang ano, more of collaboration with HR
Yeah.
and marketing and siguro corpcom na din, 'di ba? Parang
Yeah,
again,
oo.
what you've said, transparency and to convey the same message, hindi kayo iba-iba, 'di ba?
Totoo.
Mm.
Kasi ano importante that we stay true to what our vision, our corporate values are, and yun yung panghahawakan ng mga dadating na incoming employees para
Mhm.
alam nila kung ano yung pinapasok nila. Ganun lang.
Mm. So let's jump in naman to AI. So we're not going to deep dive naman about AI kasi hindi rin naman ako authority. But I just want to know your take kasi 'di ba AI is ano na talagang everyone is using AI. And it's many forms, hindi lang naman ChatGPT, madami pa. So it has this very really immense potential. And yung impact hindi na question eh. It will impact all industries, 'di ba? So I want to know your thoughts on how HR can make use of AI and all its technology to further streamline or to make things easier for HR processes.
Actually, to be honest, nahirapan ako dito sa tanong na 'to, ha, because hindi rin ako techie na
Hmm.
tao. Parang
Okay, go lang.
I understand programs, yun yung major ko nung college, pero, hindi ako nag-try pa ng ChatGPT. Although niloloko ako ng office mates ko ngayon na yung mga memo ko daw, ChatGPT daw yun, pero it's not true.
Ah,
Um,
ganun
um,
kaganda yung memo mo, ibig sabihin.
Wala yun na nga. Hindi,
Hmm.
ano ba, more than the technology, importante siguro sa akin, data management.
Mhm.
Kasi regardless of how powerful the tool is, kapag garbage yung ipapasok mo, garbage din yung
Garbage
lalabas.
in, garbage out. Mhm.
So more than a lot of companies, I think would not um, would not be in a position yet to use AI, in their operations. Pero siguro, hopefully, all these, smaller companies, yung mga SMEs, no, they be able to use tools for data management better because
Mhm.
um, mas madali to make decisions when the reports are automated, 'di ba? Kasi a lot of kunyari for instance, no, yung performance management na lang. Mas madali mong malalaman if a person is performing well or not kapag performance evaluation season. If the
Mhm.
data, if performance data is documented and automated. Kumbaga parang titingnan mo na lang, available na yung info kaysa parang when it's manually being, monitored.
Mm.
Kung merong mga incident reports na nangyari, may mga um, awards, commendations na nakuha, di ba, easier. So, siguro hindi ako masyadong interested sa ngayon sa AI,
Hmm, okey.
um, because hindi ko siya naiintindihan pa.
Mhm.
Plus, nandun ang mindset ko sa, parang to build the process muna as simple as I can.
Mm.
Kumbaga parang let's put together the processes and then hindi pa ready yung marami pang SMEs na hindi pa
Hmm,
makakaintindi.
understand.
Plus, we have a problem pa with data privacy in the Philippines. So,
Yeah.
ayun
Mm.
na naman ako. Humirit na naman ako. Oh, yun na,
Ah,
yun na.
okey sige.
Philippines ko na eh.
Oo. I want to add lang dun sa ano, yung example na binigay mo about performance management. I think, 'di ba, exactly what you said, hindi naman puwedeng i-manually mo lahat ng performance evaluation. Especially
Mm,
if you're dealing with like hundreds of employees, 'di ba? That will take
mm,
time. So, dun papasok rin yung ano, yung assistance and technology, 'di ba? Let
mm,
them let the software do the heavy lifting and then HR will do the
mm.
analysis once available na yung
Yeah.
data and information, 'di ba? My next question, war for talents. So,
Mm,
with all your experience, it's not ano naman, it's no secret to you na nowadays, yung mga companies anywhere in the world can tap Filipino talents, can
mm,
tap local talents, 'di ba? So that makes the competition parang fiercer kasi hindi lang
yeah.
local companies are competing on the same pool of talents, 'di ba?
Mm.
So eto siguro hindi masyadong applicable kay The Palace. But how do you see companies adapting to this phenomenon wherein global global again war for talents na work from anywhere, work from home, work
Mm.
remotely. So that adds challenge na sa local companies, 'di ba? So how will you see or how do you see companies adapting to this shift?
I think the long-term approach, the long-term solution should be for companies to be willing to train people. Kasi that's the problem eh. Parang we keep fighting over, a small pool of people that are already experienced in a certain field. Parang plug and play ang nangyayari. If you would
Mhm.
notice, pag makakita ka ng mga ads no for vacancies, parang must have at least 2 years of experience, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
Tapos pag tingnan mo, parang wait lang, parang a fresh graduate can do that. Um, Local companies will not be able to fight with, parang companies that are located abroad. They can offer salaries in dollars, siguro.
They can't
Or,
match yung ano yung compensation, 'di ba? Mm.
so the only solution that I could think of right now is for local companies to spend time training people.
Mhm.
Marami kasing gustong magkaroon ng trabaho, pero there's a disparity pa din eh between what's learned in the academe versus what is needed in the industry. And
Yeah,
that's where training
the
comes in.
mismatch, 'di ba? Mm.
Nandun pa rin siya. I mean, it's been I took up my master's in UP Soler. I finished it in 2013. Pinag-uusapan na siya when I was in UP Soler. Pinag-uusapan pa rin siya hanggang ngayon because it's still very much a reality eh, na maraming kulang, no? Parang dagdag mo pa yung generational na
Gap.
no, differences, di ba? So,
Mhm.
we should train people. We should invest in
Yeah,
training people. Yun yung
invest
tingin ko.
invest in your employees. What do you think will be an ideal employee program specifically for benefits and rewards
Mhm.
na that company can focus on to address yung engagement and attrition. So in your opinion, ano yung saan sila pwedeng mag-focus na ideal benefit that we can draw? I understand you mentioned training, you invest on. But aside from that, kung meron pa. So saan sila dapat mag-focus?
Yung parang it's the ano yun, the total compensation package eh.
Compensation.
As mentioned kanina, no, parang there are phases in life wherein cash on hand is more important than anything else.
Mhm.
Now, when you get siguro to, kunyari, medyo college na yung mga anak mo or they can already provide for themselves, medyo nag-iiba na kasi that's when you start thinking about retirement maybe or putting up a business on the side, etc., etc. So I think um, ang pinakamagandang program na pwedeng gawin is something that's flexible to what
Mhm.
an employee needs at this particular time.
Mhm.
Kunyari ikakasal, which means merong mga gastos no na ina-expect na malakihan. Maybe a loan facility for that particular purpose,
Mhm.
HMO HMO program that would address no yung kakulangan naman natin sa ayan na naman ako kakulangan natin sa
Go lang. Do you want me to edit that out? Okay lang,
no,
sabi mo.
cut
Oh,
it
sige.
out.
Okay, okay.
Walang talaga ako sarili. I can't help it, no? Sinabi ko na sa sarili ko na sabi ko parang, okay, I will try to be politically correct for the first
Mhm.
time. Pero hindi pa rin kinakaya. So, yeah. So, HMO, yeah. So HMO plan, no? Especially when you have young children, no? Kasi madalas silang magkasakit, di ba?
Mhm.
Um, Tapos siguro investments, kung kunyari single, wala masyadong responsibilidad pa sa pamilya, then they want to learn more about stocks, they want to learn more
Mhm.
about trade, parang eh, ang dami kasing what's the term for that? Parang instruments, 'di ba?
Yeah.
To invest.
Mm.
I've been trying to read up kasi on these things, pero hindi kinakaya ng brain cells ko, kaya ano, pa konti-konti lang, no? Overtime ko
Mhm.
lang siya nakuha. Yeah, gano'n. Siguro, um, a compensation package that's specific to
Mm.
what the person needs at that particular phase in life. Ganun lang.
Okay. Noted, Jody. Tama yung ano, being flexible. That's really important. Okay, so I'm down to my last question, Jody. So for our listeners out there, the young bloods who wants to pursue a career in human resources, what's your best advice for them?
Um, find a mentor if you can.
Mm.
And if you can find a mentor, be so good at what you do that you can be a mentor to somebody else.
Mm.
Hmm. Ganun lang.
Nice.
Tsaka, I'm open. I actually am okay, with people sending me messages every now and then through Facebook asking me about HR stuff. Okay lang naman yun. Wala pang bayad. Pero pag naging abogado na ako,
Oh, soon. Soon.
ako, soon, napakatagal pa. Marami
Tagal pa
pa
ba?
akong, matagal pa.
Okay, sige. Siguro another discussion pag-usapan natin yung ano mo, yung yung ano, journey when it comes to law. Gawa natin ng
Yeah.
panibagong ano, podcast. Okay. So that's my last question. Jody, thank you so much. I would like to take this time to always thank my guests. I always say this na minsan kasi 'di ba HR, it's a thankless job. Like
It
what I've
is.
said, kanina, very stereotype, very administrative lang ang tingin ko kay HR eh. Parang pag kailangan ng employee, another manpower or additional manpower, go to HR. Pag kailangan
Mm.
kailangan mag-set ng events, kung ano man 'yan, go to HR. So very ano lang, ganun lang yung tingin ko. But when I started again talking to HR professionals like you, it really made me realize na hindi madaling maging HR. 'Di ba? Like what I kanina sinashare ko na you talk with different people, you with different limits, different personalities, and you also have your own problems to deal with. Pero you
True.
have to keep your ano you have to keep your emotions checked. Kasi you are HR. So,
Mm.
yung mga ganon hindi nakikita ng ibang employees eh na sadly, again, ano lang yung tingin sa HR. So, this is me on behalf of all the people listening na who appreciates HR. So, thank you. Thank you for thank you for being an HR that you are. Please stay true to your passion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hindi naman
So,
madali. Mm. Pero
okay.
I
So,
love what I do. So, okay lang.
okay. So we have before I end the podcast, familiar ka ba sa fast talk?
Yeah, sige. Oo. Oh, sige daw.
Okay. Game. Okay, so set of
Ikaw yun.
questions, two choices, tapos no right or wrong naman to. So you don't have to be politically correct.
Okay. Mas gusto ko yun.
Okay. Work from home or on-site?
On-site.
Company outing or Christmas party?
Christmas party.
Talaga. Empathy or competency?
Competency.
Recruitment or training?
Training.
Nice. Uniform or dress down?
Dress down.
Of course. Microwave or ref sa pantry?
Ref.
Okay. Windows or Mac?
Mac. Mac, Mac,
Hmm,
Mac, Mac. Forever
talaga.
Mac.
Presenter or part of the audience?
Part of the audience, if I
Ah,
can.
talaga. Calendar or email?
Email.
And the last, Facebook or LinkedIn?
Facebook.
Talaga. Okay. Thank you so much, Jody, for taking part of this podcast. I really learned a lot from you. So, pag may mga listeners tayong who wants to connect or to reach out with you, to you, what's the best way?
Well, you can find my my LinkedIn profile, although it doesn't really tell you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah, Jodel Villanueva.
Mm-hmm.
I go by Jodie Villanueva in Facebook, although I'm not very politically correct in Facebook. So be be forewarned of
Mhm.
unpopular opinions there.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, ganun lang. Ganun lang naman. Yeah.
Okay. Will it be okay if I can parang screenshot yung LinkedIn profile mo and I can post
Yeah,
it sa ano?
sure.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Sige, I'll do
Thank
that.
you.
Okay. So this has been your HR Champions podcast. See you on our next episode.
Thank you.